I don't like to overrun you again, but for me the best example is this Ghana project. We started now with a private investor to make it compost only. No biogas, nothing. We keep it very simple. And the government says, no, we don't like to bale our waste, it's too costly. Nowadays, they gave us an request, could we make it on a rental basis? Could you bale for us the waste? Therefore, if you have a real running project where you can get experience on, that is like honey. Everybody is coming and we're getting it. Instead of talking only about it. That's my advice to you, frankly speaking. Do something.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Now, with the compost,
Yeah.
if you can get the compost, from the compost, you can still generate gas without even convert it to another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Take for instance, if you have a VIP toilet,
Mm-hmm.
the dogs are inside the pit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume this is the pit.
Yeah.
The dogs are here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's water flowing somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
They put a hole there.
Mm-hmm.
Gas will come up.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you get all this compost produced, you heat them in the pit, big pit. Then gas can come out. Then you can.
That's only one short answer to go not too deep in detail. As my best example is Ghana as well. The cocoa board required now to get the compost to give the farmers the compost instead of fertilizer to improve the soil of the cocoa farmers. So that's political thinking then, strategy, that you say, okay, I get a very nice product in hand, what can I do with this product? Not what can I do with what I don't have. That's why I like to spawn up in your mind later on if you are sitting together in Nigeria, that we're discussing about possibilities and how to make out of a dream and real existing system. And I learned from my daughter as well, first of all, start to crawling, start to walking, start to bicycling. That is the way of human being. And the same in this very particular business field. And I learned from Comtex, they showed me that, and I appreciate that I'm experienced now, how simple it could be.
One step after the other.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
When you said this, I was looking at that would be very expensive.
Yeah.
That it took me
Once again, thank you very much.
Qatar, any of Qatar, then you put check. We are
God's argument, changes of views
Yeah.
on this subject matter, which is very important. Then we appreciate you a lot. And on behalf of the Executive Governor of Oyo State, so I'm presenting these.
For you to know a little bit about
What
what
we
you
have
said.
done as government, that we are very proactive, and then it's government for the people in terms of social service and service to humanity as well. And we will not let you down, so we believe we can do business together, a mutually beneficial business relationship. I will not let you down at all. So we're here for a purpose, and then at the time we come to Nigeria, we take it further. So thank you very much for your attention. God bless you.
Shall we move into the workshop to look around?
The team that is led by all of us you are seeing here has been introduced to you. We say a big thank you to you. We are glad to be here. We look forward to having a good partnership with you. Thank you very much.
So, that's it. Das ist nicht so schlimm wie Chinische. Wenn China war hier, das ist weg.
We are joking a little bit about property rights.
Yeah. If the China enters here, they will copy everything. You don't take them inside the room. Never.
That is an indictment.
They don't even take their pictures.
Indictment.
They don't allow them to. No, it's true. They don't allow them to take
invite all
They will
our
copy.
people. Divide in two dimensions. You can see everything of the machines in any views, collisions, and something like that. Hast du da nicht eine Maschine auf, Astrid? Turn the view of the machine. Soll man einen Schnitt machen, Jens? You can make a cut each position where you want. Machst du mal bitte? Jetzt mal so nachziehen. Therefore, the machine looks like in reality. You see? It's much easier to understand. What you also can do, you can move all moving parts. For example, folding conveyors. We can move the parts to check if there are any positions in something like that you see.
Okay. Fantastic. So, thank you. Let's move.
And then you can start. Yeah. Haben wir Transportsicherung? There are some you can see there security bolts for during transportation. They have to be erased. Yes. And that's it.
This is fantastic.
It's like a tank. It's like a tank. In the battlefield, start the machine and go ahead.
Yeah, one more time.
And now start. Machine starten. Where is it? Okay. The key turning to the right hand side. That's
Like your car.
the first
no problem.
machine has already started now. Automatic lead. moving. It's moving. And the drum is moving. That's easy.
Now we can
Bitte mach mal einen auf, bitte.
Little bit closer together. That's how
Usually you make marriage pictures, therefore.
For years. Wo ist meine? Bless your heart.
Ich habe deine Tasche, ne?
Ja, bitte.
Ich gehe mal.
Way how we can agree on what we have in mind to do. After we discussed on Tuesday shortly or presented ourselves and a potential project opportunity, I did a very simple approach in taking a standard contractual formula which is being used in European community and even abroad from Europe. And this is called the FIDIC template. FIDIC stands for Federal International, is a French term, so I'm not so fluent in French. It's a general, it's an authority, an association, which has defined general terms and conditions for consultancy contracts, engineering contracts, and others. Which has the great advantage, we don't need to talk about a lot of legal details and aspects and things. I'm not a lawyer. You will have to contact lawyers and then it takes long to agree on certain details and conditions. So this is a general contract template, and the only thing we need to define is scope of work, terms and conditions, schedule. And this is just the appendixes. So just to show shortly the terms of the general template or general table of content, just definitions, interpretation, scope of work, and this is all standard text. So of course you will have time to go through it later, but I'm not going to go into these details today, since this is all standard text and agreement. The only thing I want to talk the terms and conditions you can see later is we agree on something if we sign it, but it will be effective only after the first payment. So it means if you don't agree to certain details on a later stage, you are just free to let us know what you want to have changed. Then we can still we can still go ahead. So as you see, the agreement made today between the government of Oyo State and Hamburg Consult, whereas the client desires that certain services should be performed by the consultant, namely Hamburg Consult. The government has accepted the proposal by the consultant for the performance of such services as described within the proposal. So this contract, very simple contract, refers to the proposal. So all the technical details, all the scope of work in detail still applies what we have outlined in the proposal. So I do not repeat this in the contract, of course. So as you see, the simple consequences or the simple procedure is if you agree to that, you can either sign it or send us a letter of acceptance later on. Then we see, okay, we are in agreement. Then you have time to let us know, please send the invoice for the down payment. Okay, we send the invoice for the down payment. Then you pay the down payment and then the contract is effective. In the meantime, you still have time to think whether you accept terms and conditions, whether you accept the scope of work and things like that. The only thing, and here I've prepared already how we can proceed. So I was not sure who the general terms and conditions which are already defined, which I did not touch. Just we can just skip here. You can read at a later stage, and we go to the appendices, and I can talk about what we have proposed and what I come back to in particular conditions. We say the project is the feasibility study for the implementation of a bus master plan. The commencement 6 weeks after contract effectiveness. So that means 6 weeks is the mobilization time after we agreed and you paid the down payment, and we say, okay, in 6 weeks time our team will be on site, start working on site. Time for payment within 30 days after reception of the receipt. If overdue payment, we have 2% delay fee, which I don't think we need to enforce or we don't need to apply. We have agreed the language of the contract is English, the ruling language is English, law to which the agreement is subject to law of Nigeria, law of Germany. So since we are both parties, one party in Nigeria, one party in Germany. The principal place of business is either Hamburg or Ibadan. We can even define or change this definition at a later stage if you want us to look after something else outside of these places. What we need, and that's why I have marked it in red here, is we need a post address where we can send documents to. So you may please fill in. You can either do today or a later stage. Fill in.
Do it now also.
Where you want. Yeah, we can do it now. If you have a card or something which you can provide us, we can easily fill in. Or you can fill in manually. Doesn't matter. So we have filled in our contact address, which is either my colleague, which is Hamburg Consult, the office where you were, and email address either my colleague Karl Höffler, I think you met him last time,
Yeah.
or my own email address, phone number, fax number, all in the proposal. So not to be repeated here, just the headlines. Appendix B is dealing with provisions by the client. So we have outlined what we did in the proposal, what we need from your side, what kind of support we need from your side. So of course we need some particular agreement, or we need some administrative services, and we probably need some formal statements, like say for this equipment we bring into Nigeria, we are entitled to bring out without paying whatever customs fee or whatever might applicable under the law of Nigeria, which I'm not familiar with. We have seen certain cases in certain places where some laws or local rules apply fees or duties, taxes whatsoever for equipment you bring in and you want to bring out. because they would suggest you probably sell the equipment there, or you do some trading or something, which is not our intention. So that's why we probably need a sheet of paper where an authority, preferably the Office of Government, says these guys bring in laptops, whatever cameras, they are entitled to bring them out after working there. Accommodation, things like that. So we have proposed in the initial proposal about the remuneration and payment for the 3 stages, and we have proposed a 35% down payment. As I said, after the down payment is in our account, the contract will be deemed effective. So we still can talk about details after you sign the contract, but if once the down payment is installed, we deem the contract to be effective. We don't think that there is VAT applicable in Nigeria. I just put it into this contract. If there would be an application of VAT in Nigeria, we would have to think about how to apply this in the contract. Or we need a tax exemption declaration or something like that.
Yeah.
So we don't apply any VAT in Germany, since the services provided are in Nigeria. So the point of service provision outside of Germany does not imply a VAT for Germany. Signature of both parties, this can be today, it can be any time later. Contract will become effective after the reception of down payment at the account of service provider Hamburg Consult in Germany. That's it.
Thank you.
All right. So thing in paper is the same document as I was just scanning through quickly. You can have a look in peace.
Okay, no problem.
I prepared 3 copies of it. The most important thing I would suggest today is the postal address, where we can send a mail to in Nigeria, which we would appreciate very much. If you feel ready to sign anything, we can even do a signature ceremony today and sign it. But the contract effectiveness is only given after the first payment, as I was outlining. So actually, everything fine. If you want me to sign today in advance, I can also do.
And traditionally, an issue that concerns 2 state governments in terms of bilateral relationship, it requires our Ministry of Justice to vet any agreement before we can append our signature. And I would suggest that by the time you come to Nigeria for your fact-finding mission, then we can sign the first leg of the agreement there. And then, if possible, by the time we make a payment, you understand, as requested by Hamburg Consult, then we can sign another leg of agreement, which is called definitive agreement. Having said that, on behalf of the Executive Governor of Oyo State and the entire group of people of Oyo State, the first stage of down payment of 30,000 euro, I believe, should be negotiable. So you've made a request, you've sent the proposal to us now, and I think we're duty bound to negotiate it down. So it is an international right.
Sure.
So I would suggest, on behalf of His Excellency the Executive Governor, that the first stage of money you expected from your state government should be negotiated down to about 20,000 euro. And that is, I'm speaking on behalf of His Excellency, I'm speaking out his mind. And I'm speaking out the minds of the entire good people of your state. So, if you agree with that, yes, it's acceptable to us. in Oyo State as well.
Mhm.
So we can take it one by one.
Mhm.
And then, as per the issue of agreement, it's very, very important for us to take this home.
Mhm.
Then the Ministry of Environment will now write His Excellency,
Mhm.
briefing him on this agreement.
Okay. Yeah.
He will now forward this agreement to the Ministry of Justice for vetting.
Mhm.
If there's anything to add, they will add.
Mhm.
If there's anything to delete, because it is a kind of bilateral agreement
Sure.
between
The
two
parties.
governments,
Yeah. Mhm.
Oyo State government as well as Hamburg City government.
Mhm.
So it's not just an ordinary MOU.
Sure.
So it has to be chicken before the egg.
Mhm.
So I want you to oblige us to do that. So as a result of that, I don't think we're going to sign anything today.
Okay.
I don't want us to rush anything.
Okay.
But as soon as we get to Nigeria, we are going to fast track it.
Mhm.
Within 3 days or 4 days, we'll get things sorted out
Okay.
and get back to you in writing.
Okay.
We can even write a letter, or at the Ministry of, if the governors direct, the ministry will write a letter and we'll send it by email to you or send it to through Banjo,
Okay.
and then even send it by DHL by
Okay.
using, the hard copy
Okay.
can be sent by or
Okay.
forwarded to you by DHL.
I appreciate
But
that
for
very much.
us at this stage, I don't think we can append our signatures on
Okay.
anything.
Do you want me to sign as a let's say as a sign for putting forward something or?
I've explained it.
Mhm.
It has to be chicken before the egg.
Okay.
There's no point signing anything
All right.
until this agreement is well vetted by the Ministry of Justice.
Okay.
So after vetting, the Ministry of Justice will now bring it back to the ministry.
Mhm.
But please, this is the kind of agreement you should sign on behalf of your state government. We may as well sign our own copy.
Mhm.
If you want it you want it that way, we can sign our own portion and then forward this hard copy to government.
Okay.
Then you execute your own as well and forward it back to us.
Okay.
But I would suggest, for convenience's sake, by the time you visit Nigeria, we can get things sorted out in
Okay.
Nigeria.
Okay.
It doesn't make any
Okay.
difference.
Okay.